Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm back again. And today I want to talk to you guys about growing your own food, the opportunities in life. It's going to lead to both things. I want to share with you guys the positivity because I'm bursting. I don't have room to grow my own food, right? Not a lot. Although I'm an opportunist, so I look everywhere I can. And I've got some stuff I've shared on Instagram and things like that you guys can go ahead and take a look at, BC Gardening Guy. But I know a lot of you are in the same boat. You maybe live in an apartment. I live in a tiny house, which I call AKA a travel trailer. And I live very simple. I live below my wages for many reasons to save money, but it's not very conducive to growing my own food. I know this is a topic, an interest that's exploding right now. The seed companies and stuff could hardly even keep up this year in 2020. And there's a lot of people motivated, a lot of people excited, but a lot of people that think that they're limited. And I'm here to tell you that you're not. And you guys can follow me on YouTube. You can see today I'm actually going to find myself some new plots. I'm gardening on other people's property, and they're more than happy. They're begging me, please come do this. So if you guys are interested in opportunities in life and gardening specific today, then today's the show for you to watch. I want to go through as best as I can and show you guys that we're not limited on anything that we do. Let's go. So I'm going to try to change this intro today to shorten it up because it's pretty long, but here's how it goes. Welcome to another edition of Up and In It. I'm your host, Adrian Babashoff. And if you're new here, welcome as well. If you're wondering what the show is about, is entirely dedicated to improving quality of life for both people and for the planet, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw on your own terms. All right, before we get into that, though, I want to do a little bit of house cleaning as some of the shows I listen to. Previous podcast kind of goes in line with today's show. I don't think the show's for everybody, meaning that a lot of people just want to get by with the path of least resistance. They don't really want to try. They don't want to really do the work. They want their milk delivered to the front door, and their newspaper sort of speaking delivered. They don't want to have to go out there and get it. A lot of people don't want to put up a fight. They want the easy life. And I understand why, but it's not quite the easy life. And I'm here to tell you that when you practice such things as I do, life should get easier. Life should get better. It should get better every month. Every year should be better and better. You should be making more money. You should be more happy. You should be growing as an individual and those around you. And you should be improving the quality of nature and everything around you as well. Why wouldn't we want that type of life? And it's sustainable. It's the true meaning of sustainable. I think that word like love gets thrown around everywhere. But I didn't mean to be rude or anything in my last show, other than I think that a lot of us have to figure out who and what we are. And if you're willing to put in the work and willing to put in the time to live an easier and better life, it's just perspective. It's all mindset and perspective, and it's applying yourself. And I think that we're not going to we're a year into the show, and it doesn't seem like it's taking any traction, which takes me to my next one reason why is this is a potty mouth podcast. I don't know if it's the F-bombs that I pop every once in a while. I get very passionate when I'm talking. I don't know if it's the background sound because I try to stack functions. I'm a very busy individual like most of you probably are. So instead of driving on my commute just thinking of weird shit, I think to myself, well, why don't you throw a podcast? Sometimes I have at least a 30-minute commute. Let's see if we could put something in there. I don't know if that's bothering people. I think as I speak a lot on the show, if the aesthetics is bothering people, then I kind of look and say, well, screw it, because it's about the content. It's about what we're putting out here. And I've listened to some shows where there was creaking and cracking, people eating in the background, and I was really intent on the information. I really wanted to change my life, and I still do, but I was really hungry for the information. And maybe I'm not the greatest of presenters. I know I fumble my words. It's very strange. When you put a camera on, it's like totally different. It's not like talking to another person. But that's what it feels like, is like I'm talking to a brick wall. And it really helps me out if you guys like the information that I'm sharing to comment or just show that you guys want the show to keep going, because it's been a year and it's a lot of work. I'm going to do it regardless because I love doing this broadcasting. But it really helps if you guys don't understand for us content creators to let us know that you're out there and that you like the stuff that we're doing. So let's jump into the show. It is a potty mouth podcast. Like I said, I I can try to work on it, but I don't know. I just like to be me, man. But yeah, so a lot of you want to grow food. A lot of you want to garden. It's evident. There's, like I said, all this stuff is sold out. The chicken manure in Home Depot is sold out. As soon as they get one pellet, it's gone. The supply chain's all screwed up right now. So there's a lot of hurdles and stuff to go over, but you got to keep trying. For me, it's the land right now. I don't own my own land. So you want to garden, you want to grow your own food. How do you do it? What do I do? I'm not claiming that I have all the answers, but goddamn, man, I got some really awesome stuff, and that's why I'm here today to share. So I go, my weapon of choice is Facebook, and Facebook groups in particular. So when I started out last year, I went to a group. I live in Sunnyside, California, San Diego, North County. And there's these groups. One of them that I'm looking at right now is Friends of Fallbrook. And all the city members join these groups if you're not aware of it. And there's something like 50,000 people, right? A lot of people are freaking out with this COVID thing right now. It's mid-September of 2020. And a lot of people are looking, man, I got to secure some food or something. So there's never been a time like right now. But last year I sent a video. And I just grew a couple little things to try to show what we're doing. Took a picture of myself and my daughter, and I says, this is what we're looking to do. If anybody's interested, we'll go on your property. We'll maintain a certain portion. We'll pay for all the water that's used in the garden. And we'll also produce you fresh produce, some of the best tasting produce on the planet. And we got a lot of hits. I'd say we got about 20, 30 hits off the Friends of Fallbrook. So a lot of people were interested, and that's how we found our first plot. Reason why I'm looking for a second plot, if you're asking, is that I need to go larger. And the original information that I thought that we communicated with the landowner didn't really communicate well. So that's a tip I would say is make sure that you have stuff in writing. That way you can go to the people and say, hey, didn't we agree? It's all right here, instead of verbal. For instance, that I was going to take up a certain amount of space. Now it's only this amount of space. For instance, I'd like to build a shed to house my tools and things from the weather. And then it's like, no, I don't want any more buildings on here, no more anything. In fact, we need to get rid of all this compost and bags, which totally is disrupting the systems there. So very important. I would say the other tip I would give you guys too is to make sure you post somewhere at a time where you think people are off work. When you're best going to reach them. And there's no guarantee, because there's an administrator who usually approves your post on these group members, these group sites on Facebook. So it may take 4 hours before they approve your post, and then it's shown in front of all the people. Why is this important? It's because of your post will get knocked down in the feed. Maybe there'll be like 15 other people that were approved after you, and you're way at the bottom. There's a chance that people didn't see it. Another tip I'll give you is to follow up on it. Don't give up. As I said in the show, especially in the beginning, there's always hurdles, man. There's always hurdles, but you got to keep fighting through. So one of the tactics that I've done is I take a second. I'll wait about a week. You don't want to just keep pounding, the group with it, but wait about a week, be patient, and then put in some new content. Like for instance, this year, I went in and just showed like the structure, like here's the greenhouse, here's the dimensions, here's what I'm looking for, here's what didn't work for us, and here's what we're looking for in contrast to what we have right now. And then I went over, we pay for the water. I showed him my water meter that I put, the baskets of compost and stuff like that, and then explaining, hey, I need to build bigger crates and stuff to hold this stuff. And then I just kind of went in real quickly and showed, we're growing all kinds of things very quickly. Some tomatoes and zucchini and cucumbers and herbs and spices and teas and blah, 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 whatever. Just kind of showed, and people got really excited about that. Well, I got probably about 10 to 15 people offering me their property off that first video, right? And more. I've got chefs interested in me. So this thing's broadening beyond what I've even expected. But the second video I went in specifically about to change it up. Hey, here's what we're growing if you want us to do this on your property. And I went into my lemongrass and why I like it, and a little story of how I bought this little lemongrass to make some soup. Didn't make the soup pot. I propagated it in a pot. Now look, it's this giant bush and it's beautiful and I love it. and I got a real close up on the bees eating the pollen off the seeding plants and stuff like that, and really went into a little bit of detail about my edible flowers, my wild indigenous flowers, and then my types of exotic tomatoes and things that I'm growing. So, and I kind of explained, like, this food tastes so good because it's grown with almost pure worm castings, and we just love it. And the water use is so low. Here's what I kind of shared more details. So every time I'd post, I'm only on my second post here, and I've got more and more hits. I'd say we're up to probably 40 people just again saying, hey, please come. And I've seen some properties, guys, that are yesterday's property that I went to visit was an avocado grove. It was 20 acres. There was a little stream and a giant lake, huge lake about the size of a football field, with a diving board on the end, and it was a property that was amazing. I mean, amazing. So, and you would think the hardest place to do that would be in Sunnyside, California. Well, no, it's actually in contrast. If I could do it here, you guys could do it anywhere. So, opportunistic thinking, guys. You guys got to get out there. You got to put yourself out there, and you have to keep going. And you have to, if you're really hungry, you got to keep trying. And I'm going to post some videos and pictures because I know a lot of people are full of crap out there. You know, they're trying to sell you something. I ain't here to sell you guys nothing. I'm only here to try to convince that there's a better way of living for you, because I have just wonderful adventures in my life. I have nobody to share them with, but you guys, you guys adopted me, whether you like it or not. But no, there's all kinds of ways. All right. So let me see if I can think of some more things, because I'm just going off the whim here. I've been so busy. I got up extra early in the morning so you guys don't have to hear the truck rumbling. So I'm going to try to do at least one show a week. And try not to potty mouth. But like I said, there's no guarantee. I don't think it's going to happen. But let me know too if there's something better you guys think I can do. You know, give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a middle finger. I don't care, man. Just let me know you're out there. But so if you are going to garden, I would recommend on somebody's property and you're getting knowledgeable. You want to figure out a few things, like where the water is at. If you need electricity. Look for these details. I think one of the most important things is to ask the people, if they do garden, what kind of pests they have in those areas. One of the good things to do is to look on the ground for scat. Like you can find the rabbit poop and stuff like that. Look for snail shells. It's a very good indication of what you're going to have be working with there. Regardless, when you start putting your garden in open fields and stuff, the animals are going to come. And I've got a lot of stuff to share with you, with the BC gardening guy on Instagram. Also, we did our first post today on YouTube. It's the biodegradable container gardening. That's the name of the game of my invention and what I'm doing. But you guys, I just want to get this word out there, and I want the positivity. I think if you guys go and start adhering to all the bullcrap that's out there on the news and what people are saying, I stick to myself. I'm so excited and happy about things, and the more and more I stay by myself and stay more inventive and intuitive, I keep finding these new things. I can't help to keep finding opportunity. I think that sometimes too, with opportunity, I'm an entrepreneur. And I think even if you're not, you have to micromanage, I think, almost everything. You have to run everything like a business, as I say on the show. That includes with people. You know, as I said, if you're going to spin farm, which is farming on somebody else's property that you don't own, you need to get stuff in writing. You need to get everything clear, and you need to get your duckies in a row. I just kind of want to tell you a story. I was supposed to get a shipping container that was relevant to my spin farm, my garden project, because I needed, as I said, they want me to get all my stuff out of there now, my goods basically. So I needed a shipping container, and I ordered one, and they never even went over details, and they ended up charging me money. I would say on this podcast here, mobile mod sucks. Don't ever deal with mobile mod if you're buying a shipping container. These people don't return phone calls. It's horrific. And I think a lot of endeavors that you can go on, you could have the same experiences that I do. But let me tell you the next story about when I ordered my new shipping container. I called the company, and I says the first company couldn't do it, and I'm a little scared. I need to get a container. And the guy says, well, if the first company couldn't do it, we're not going to be able to do it either. And I was like, okay, well, whoa. He was just giving up. I was like, look, if you want me, I want to buy a shipping container and I want to make this happen. Please to answer this first question. Then how much space do you need to bring in an X amount of like a 40-foot shipping container? And they were like 100 feet. I says, okay, sir, so let's stop right there. The last company said 120, 140, and I heard even one 150. So if you can do 100 feet, I believe you can do this. But instead of you coming and charging me and not being able to deliver, why don't you get your guy over here, call me up, we'll look on Google Earth, we'll do some measurements. Maybe if you can, if you're local, you could even have your driver come and inspect the place before he even delivers it. How's that sound? He said, that sounds fantastic. So the only reason, I'm not going to go off on this thing, but the only reason I'm saying this is you almost have to jump in and solve problems. And it's the problems like that. Did you see how I inserted myself and I made things happen? I actually did the guy's job who was supposed to be doing a job to help me out. I had to help him out to help me out. So it's not easy, and I think a lot of people have that. As I said on the last podcast, a lot of people just don't have the skills. And I think a lot of people are probably beaten down. They're frightened. They're scared. They feel just tired. They feel confused. But what does that help? What does that help anything? It doesn't help you. It doesn't help you get anywhere. It ain't going to help you get what you want. And if you really want to get something, you have to get out of that box of thinking and start listening to episodes like on this show. What we do is we think outside the box and we think, what could we do? How do we solve problems? What are the alternatives to what we have? Because if what we have is working, then why is everybody so confused and sad and tripping out? You know? I hope I answered your questions with the gardening. I wanted to go into a story. It's the same thing about opportunistic thinking and shifting things around and seeing things in a different light. Because I think that it's a philosophy that will help you guys to get what you want in business. If you guys want to garden, you got to get this type of thinking. And let me tell you, it's a story about a father who has a 14-year-old daughter. 14-year-old daughter doesn't want to do any chores, is very artistic and happy. The father's very happy that she is. He just wants her to eat better foods and get exercise. But the main thing is that their creativity hasn't been killed. As his father likes to say, do not let them murder your magic. You know, don't let them kill your curiosity. Stay curious. Stay with the magic of creating and imagination. So, but this kid is lacking, and the kid wants to do everything themselves. So the father gets very upset. The kid's not doing chores, not helping out. We even talk like a human being. The father says, hey, I pay for everything here. I put a roof over your head. I'm the one that's clothing you, that's paying for electricity and everything else. And you're still not happy. And that's not fair, that the father would have to do everything, cook and clean and make the money and do, while you just sit around and do nothing. But I understand it. You see, I think even the problem with parenting, and I think this goes in conjunction with being a business owner with employees and having a significant other in your life, is that everybody wants to do shit their own way. And they should. I think, think about yourself. If someone was preparing meals, I'm pretty easy though, because it's all about saving money and getting on to like the yumminess, the goodness in life of like inventing things, not just food. But let's just say somebody decided they wanted to feed you spaghetti for dinner and you weren't quite feeling it, and you're like, well, I could eat the leftover potato. No, it's spaghetti. Why is the child's life different? Child may want to have something different that day if there's an option. So my point is that father should give the kid the freedom to explore and to actually screw up, to fuck things up. That's how we learn. We learn by screwing things up. You know what you don't want to do. It's kind of like me on my spin farm. I know that I need more space now. Did I screw up? No, I learned a shit ton of stuff, and I'm going to apply it to this new place in great variations and with great imagination and excitement. But so the father, and being all upset and angry, decided, you know what? Well, let's do just that. Let's shift all the responsibility back onto the child. And a lot of you may think that I'm crazy, but the father said to this child, then let's get you, if you want to cook your food in microwaves, that's fine. We explained why it's probably not healthy. You can do your research for yourself. It's very convenient, but if that's what you want and you want to eat canned soups and all these well then, let's do canned soups. And this father says it's very hard to transition into life. And my job and the public education's job is to prepare you for real life. Isn't it? Isn't that the motive, like for parents and for our systems, our elders and everybody, to prepare this young individual as they grow up to fend for themselves, to defend for themselves, to provide their own food, to have knowledge and creativity, to know, as the words I'm saying today, to be more optimistic, to have that thinking, that mind frame, and everything you see. When you get these tools, you'll start developing solutions to problems. And guess what? When you develop solutions to problems, you make money, or you produce food, or you get somewhere. You get a product of some sort. You get somewhere. You're moving when you do that. So, how are children supposed to learn? How is anybody supposed to learn when they have somebody hovering over their head? I think that there's some great ways of education, of elders and stuff, to give pointers. As the father said to this child, I can shortcut a whole bunch of stuff, but this kid is unwilling to listen. Sound familiar? They want to go through. Literally says, I want to be able to screw up, but I want to screw up and do it my way. I want it my way. Everybody wants it their way. Well, not everybody, but the majority of people. I'd pretty much say everybody. But so now you give them the reins and say, well, do that. How is this father planning on doing this? Says, well, you're going to have to get a job, and you're going to have to start supplying anything you want to start out with. I'll pay half. Not anything you want. I'm not buying a Schwinn bicycle for $1,000 or something. But your food, let's start out with your food. We'll start off with the microwave. You design it. You do your own kitchen and everything. Of course, I need to watch out in case you don't start any fires, shorten out. You're not doing electrical and things like that. But I'll show you if you want to do that. We'll build you some cabinetry. But again, you pay for half of the wood, or you go and forage for free wood, for pallets like I do, and build your own stuff. Now this child, and then I says, eventually, this father says that eventually you'll pay all your own rent. And then you don't have to abide by most rules or anything. You're mostly on your own. You want to be liberated. You want to be emancipated. Then this is the best way. And it's a scientific proof if you need. The best way to learn, and the Army knows this, is lectures and someone sitting there talking textbooks is like the least amount of information absorption. It's the poorest. At the bottom is actually experiencing it and then teaching it to somebody else, or actually doing it. It's common sense in my book. Although there's some some alternatives there of people like me. As I said earlier on the shitty podcast that I listened to, I was so into the information that it didn't matter to me that there was some background noise or something. I wanted to hear what this person had to say, and I absorbed it. So you have to be willing. But you see how we shifted this responsibility on this child, and I think this child is going to be more happier. And I think that this child is going to learn a hell of a lot more things than it will from public education. And it's going to spiral, and it's nobody else's fault but that child's, when that child screws things up. And maybe that child will learn, especially in a safety net where she has that area to start developing now. So I think that's pretty cool. And I think that that's the kind of ways that in business it could work for. Do you guys kind of see where I'm going with that? You're a business and you got some employees. Employees is relatively good, but not performing. It's got problems, and you talk and you're just like, that's unrealistic. Well, let's try to switch that around and see how it works. I mean, we're experiencing that now. We're experiencing this COVID lockdown that a lot of businesses told their employees, you're going to work from home. They expected that people were going to be screwing off. There wasn't going to get any work done. It was, in contrast, they were performing way better. I did a show about 2 years ago on how none of this makes sense. That our systems do not make sense. If these office jobs and everything could be done at home, you imagine how better the world would be. That's why I think I've got some word. Sometimes I think like I suck. I'm like, man, I got nothing to say. Who's going to listen to me? But 2 years ago, I'll make it short and brief for you guys. I looked and I says, well, how could we improve the world by having people work at home? Why do they need a cubicle? The owner has to pay for the electricity. They've got to pay for insurances and janitor, and they have to the landscapers to mow the grass. They got to pay for the water to keep the grass growing, and it's a whole mess. The owner has so much liabilities in the building. If the building needs a new roof or electrical goes out, repairs beyond the maintenance and everything, it's a crazy thing. Why would you not defer that off and put that on your employees and say, why don't you just go home and do it from there? You can fax me a sheet of paper. If there's something that's signed, maybe once a week, we can get a very small building And that's where people come and we need the wet signature. Everything's all set. Then you go right back to your home. How does this improve the environment? There's less people commuting, throwing emissions out into the air. That's what's happening right now. And mark my words, if this goes globally and a lot of people start doing it, we're going to start seeing improvements in air quality. The traffic lanes are going to stop being so congested because there's not that many people driving to a cubicle when they could just work from their home. In the environment and the time and space, the tax money that goes on roads to maintain these roads from people going over and over and over again. This opens up so much opportunity. The people who are working from home, a lot of people are able to homeschool their children now because they're working from home. They can take a few minutes off, and maybe do their work a little bit later, but they get there to help homeschool their child or do schooling from, which some people are forced to do right now. They've got to do online schooling for their kids, and they're finding out that their kids are more happier. Life is actually changing in a very good direction. We're just not seeing the opportunities. And then, as I said on the beginning of the whole point of the show, maybe those people could start being healthier and happier by growing their own food now, especially if you do it my way, the biodegradable container gardening, which is designed for people who are busy like myself. You can literally show up once or twice a week. There's no weeding, there's no nothing. There's planting and harvesting. That's it. So we got people being healthier, eating their own food and happier, showing their kids the bugs and the bees and everybody has something to eat to come in, and everybody did this in their backyard. We would start seeing a higher number of insects and birds, hummingbirds and stuff coming to feed. Everybody, it helps everything. The trickle-down effect. It just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling into more yummy and yummy goodness. It's just if we're able to see that, if we're able to pivot, as a lot of content creators say, YouTube's making some changes. Well, we're going to have to pivot constantly. My life is having to pivot. As I shared that story with my business, trying to get the shipping container, I own my own construction business, and that's like 50% is probably 70%. How do I solve this problem? And how do I keep the problems from happening? Like the very first thing I tell people, I think this is relevant, when I go do an estimate on a job, I look for everything that can go wrong first. That's what it's going to tell me. Are there plants that I need to move? Is there expensive patio furniture? Is there an air conditioner where we can drop a tile and break it and I have to pay for everything? It's going to cost me money. Well, it's going to cost me money to have to move all those things and create like a plywood crate to go over this air conditioner so that we don't crack it when we're doing the work. All these different type of variable things that can cost me money and definitely cost me time, and that affects the price. And then also the professionalism, because the way I explain to the clients, I need to charge X amount of dollars because we need to move your plants, we need to move your patio furniture, you got a glass pop out on the side, you got the air. We want to make sure we don't disturb anything that you have here and left it better the way we found it. And they're just like, yeah, I want you to do the job. This guy's on his shit. So thinking in this way, and I hope I've articulated good today, especially without any notes. I hope I've helped you guys out and inspired you guys yet again to go out there and start making stuff happen for yourself. There's a lot of good things I think that are happening. We need the positivity right now, as a lot of people are going crazy. But as I said, that doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help shit. It doesn't do anything for you, you know. So I'll leave you guys with a joke. It's kind of a dirty joke. It's one I've told my friend. My friend calls me and says, hey, my girlfriend says I'm an asshole. I says, of course you are. I can verify that. You didn't know that? You're an asshole. He goes, geez, man. And I says, well, let me explain. Being an asshole is fine, you know? Bitching, complaining, being an asshole. Everybody can handle an asshole, really. You know, it's not that bad. It's not good. It's not bad. You're just, you're an asshole. I said, just please don't be a dick. And he goes, what do you mean? I said, so you're walking down the street one day and you see an asshole on the sidewalk. What do? I said, you step around it and you walk around. He goes, oh, I see what you mean. I says, second scenario, you're walking about 100 feet further and you see a dick laying in the road. He goes, you cross the road and go to the other side. I don't know why I thought that was hilarious. I gotta say, yeah, nobody wants to deal with a dick. So you guys, if you're going to be an asshole, be an asshole. And go out there, and I think there's some positivity to being an asshole. You got to step in sometimes, like I said, do the job for people so you can get what you need or what you want. And I don't know, it's comedy, guys. This show, a lot of stuff, I try to joke. Why are we taking stuff so serious? Not my intention to offend anybody or nothing, but hopefully I made you laugh, and hopefully you guys learned something and took something. Like as I said, it's been a year in the making here, and I'm going to keep going. I'm going to try to do once a week. I don't know. They say I'm supposed to be like on it like every Monday or something. I just can't do that. I got a special needs kid. I'm a single dad. I'm gardening. I'm starting multiple businesses. I'm trying to find the yumminess in life, the positivity, and sometimes it just doesn't work. I have to post whenever I can. So I hope you guys like this stuff. So as I always say, well, you guys can see stuff on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes. It's all up and in it. If you guys want to check out my gardening stuff, it's Biodegradable Container Gardening. That's the YouTube channel. There's BC Gardening Guy on Instagram. I think it's BC Gardening Guy on TikTok as well. Just put a couple posts on there. You're going to find different things there. But that's the end of the show, guys. Thanks for being here. As I always say, go out there and have yourself a near-life experience. Do not lose your muchness. Human up. Carry on the fire. Live it. Love it. Own it. And bone it, my friends.